I don't know if each of you were on that call. If you weren't, you should be, or you should watch it back. But I wrote the date of the 28th of June in my diary. And for the last 2 weeks, I've tried to get there and haven't. And today, I went to bed last night not believing it was going to. And then I just got a number of messages in my inbox that meant that happened. So don't force it, set the date, work towards it, and keep believing that you'll do it. And then you end up, kind of just, thank you. Emma believed in me, Michelle did, the team. I wouldn't have been here without the people, Craig, Hannah, all of you. You've just, I'm really grateful. It's been an emotional roller coaster. So thank you, Zach, for now making me cry again.
I didn't see it. All right, congratulations, such a big deal. So happy for you. Amazing, so good. All right, cool. So excited. Exec's the place to be. It's worth it. Okay. So I just want to, we'll keep the call relatively brief tonight. I can help to answer questions to some degree, but what I really want to go over with you guys is, I put up a big post in the groups yesterday or 2 days ago or whenever that was, just talking about the new expansion across Europe and Japan. Now type in the chat box, how many of you guys are excited about expansion into other countries right now, right? How many of you guys are excited, right? There's a lot of excitement. And there should be a lot of excitement. And I want to kind of just go over with you guys a couple of the bullet points that I posted in the group, because here's the reality of the situation. There's there's a saying that goes, I think probably in every culture in the world, right? You get one good chance to make a good first impression, right? You get one chance to make a good first impression. And as we expand into Europe and into Japan, what's so important to always remember is that you're not just representing yourself when you go to start new conversations and look to grow into new markets. We're also representing the company, right? So we have the ability to positively impact or negatively impact someone's perception of Isagenix, right? Even though it might not be intentional, we have the ability to positively or negatively impact someone's interpretation or feelings around how we do business and how we go about building a network marketing business. Now, so if it's okay with you guys, I'm just going to go over a couple of the bullet points. Let me know in the chat box. Will you guys find value in this? Even though I wrote them, I just want to go over some of them in a little bit more depth so I can bring some clarity. We've obviously had, thanks so much for you guys, of course. We've done okay in terms of international expansion. So I just want to go over some of these things with you. And as we get closer to opening, we'll continue to, along with the other leaders on the team, we'll continue to come out with, resources and tools and things like that. Now, the very first thing I want to say before we got into expansion, I know that you guys are excited. What I cannot promise you is that we're going to translate the training site and stuff into every single country that we're opening into just because you know one person in that country. It's really important that you know that, right? So like the way that we will, and just know that we're open. We're very open to whether we need to invest into it, like we've done in the Netherlands and Belgium. If we need to invest into a professional translation company or getting assistance like from the team like we have like this, we're certainly open. But I want you guys to remember that when it came to the Netherlands and Belgium, we didn't really start to translate until there was a really steady group of people that were going, right? So as much as I am excited about the potential of your cousin that lives in Finland, we can't just, as a business owner, is that okay? Can you guys appreciate that, right? Like it's just, we're gonna have to be very, very methodical in how we scale into some of these international markets on our end from a systems perspective. Now, that doesn't mean though, that I don't highly recommend you doing your best to utilize what's already available, because that's one of the things I didn't post in the thing. But as you expand into new countries, yes, you're going to incur certain cultural differences and nuances and things like that in terms of business etiquette. But I would really, really, really invite you to focus on systemization from the very first person that you speak with. Okay? from the very first person that you speak with, I highly recommend you bringing them into systemization right away. Because especially with a new opening, there's going to be a lot of excitement and there's going to be a lot of chaos. And there's going to be a lot of people kind of wanting to figure things out on their own. And the better of a job you can do at being disciplined in your duplication, the more likely it is that you'll build something long-term in a new country as opposed to having a flash in the pan. And there are some pros on this team. There are some people that have been around the business a long time that have seen it happen, right? Esther, Sander, right? Adele, right? Emma, Michelle, you guys have seen it, right? Where a new market opens and boom, right? A lot of explosive growth and it's exciting. And within 6 months to a year, the market is gone, completely gone. And why? Because there wasn't a focus on the fundamentals. And there wasn't a focus on teaching the core values of the company, operating from within the culture that we hope you're inspired that we've created, of course, and really focusing on those fundamentals is going to be very, very important for you as you look to grow into those markets. So that's one of the first things. The next thing is we've got to understand this. Remember that just because you have a cousin that lives in Finland, it doesn't mean that you're going to have a huge business in Finland, right? Just because you went traveling one year and met someone in Denmark, it doesn't mean that that person is going to, blow up your business in Denmark. And why do I share that with you? Because it's very easy in this business, especially with a new market launch, to get really emotionally attached to one or two people inside of that new market. But ultimately, at the end of the day, what do we have to remember? It doesn't matter if they're Danish or Swiss or Swedish or Finnish or. It doesn't matter. What they are at the end of the day is they're humans. They have fears. They have desires, they have emotions, they have families, they have time commitments, they have limiting beliefs, they have certain skills, they don't have certain skills. They're going to have to overcome any of the challenges that come with getting into network marketing. They might not believe in network marketing, right? They might have had experience with network marketing, not liked it. There's so many variables involved. So step one is to really understand that no matter who you know in a brand new market, don't look at them as though they're the gateway to you having this massive team. Look at them as an individual, unique human being who you have the power to impact in a positive way. Whatever comes from that after the fact, great. Okay, how many of you are on board with that? Type in the chat box. So it's really important that you don't look at people in other markets just because you have a relationship with them and don't look at them as like, oh, they're the reason I'm going to have a huge team in Switzerland. No. I'm the reason that they are going to get introduced to something that has the potential to change their life should they choose to take action on it. But in no way, shape, or form am I going to put any kind of expectation or pressure or unfair thought onto these people simply because they happen to live in a new country we're opening. Okay, so it's really important to carry that kind of energy, okay? Because at the end of the day, I want all of you to have huge teams in different markets wherever that excites you to have teams. But I also want you to have long-term sustainable businesses. That's always what we talk about on this team. And you guys know that. It's the thing we preach the most is long-term. And one massive key to long-term success is culture. And culture starts with energy, right? Culture starts with energy. And how am I viewing the people that I'm connecting with? So that's a really big part of it. The next thing to keep in mind is to know that it's really exciting to want to get on social media and just start searching for people that live in all these different countries. Personal relationships and personal referrals are always going to be the most effective, like anything. So yes, can you get into certain groups and start to target people in different countries? Of course. But when you do that, please take time to really build a relationship. Don't be spammy in your approach. No hype whatsoever, right, is really, really important because I promise you, they'll have seen it all before. What I don't recommend is using terms like ground floor opportunity. I don't recommend saying things like you better get in early. I don't recommend saying don't miss the boat. I don't recommend saying any of those things. Why? Hype. And hype is a very, very rocky foundation. So if you are going to be intentional and you don't have relationships in some of these newer markets, but let's just say Switzerland, for example, right? Let's say Switzerland, for example, is a country that you're excited about having a team in. Why? Because you've always wanted to spend time in Switzerland. Maybe you just love the idea of having a team in Switzerland. I know for us, right, we were really excited about having a team in the Netherlands and in the UK. We were really excited about that. I had no idea I was going to fall in love with Belgium, guys. So just, you'll have to forgive me that that wasn't originally in my vision. I had no idea that I was going to fall in love with Belgium. I had no idea that that was coming as part of it. So just forgive me. But you guys know I love you in Belgium. But I'd always wanted to spend time in the Netherlands. I'd always wanted to. Why? Because I grew up loving the Dutch football team. I grew up, I did. I grew up, let's just call it what it is. When I was in college, Amsterdam was always the place you wanted to be when you're an American guy in college. And, you hear about the coffee shops. It's intriguing. So as I got older, I was like, it'd be really cool to have a team in Amsterdam. Not for those reasons anymore, but to explore the city. I had a natural affinity to want to be in the Netherlands. Okay? Does that make sense? So if your intention is Switzerland, then great. But when you go in, right? When you go into those markets and start to connect with people that you've never had a relationship with, professionalism, classy, authentic, connecting, asking questions, finding out what they want in their lives, finding out what they value in their lives, really taking time to build the relationship. Because believe it or not, the number one key to growing an international market that I've learned is having someone who's local to the culture is way more advantageous than, for example, saying you have a friend that's Dutch that lives in Switzerland, or you have a friend that's Belgian that lives in Switzerland, or if you have a friend that's English that lives in Switzerland. They're not usually going to be as influential as somebody who was born and raised and has deep roots in Switzerland. Does that make sense? Okay. So making those authentic connections is going to go a really long way, because someone who's rooted and has history in a city or a country, their words are going to have power. So if you make a bad first impression, their words are going to have power. If you make a good first impression, whether they decide to get started or not, they might have power in recommending some people to you that would be a great referral or a great partner. Okay. So super, super important. Super, super important. Okay. The next thing is this. We did that. Okay, the next thing is this. Certain cultures have different business etiquette practices. Now, the leadership packet that's in that you guys were either emailed or have gotten access to, corporate, I don't know if you guys have seen them. Have you seen the packets? They are stunning. I posted them in the groups. When we launched, they're in all the groups, but they're corporate, particularly these PDFs that are just brilliant and beautiful. They're beautiful packages. And what they did for Europe that's so cool is it says like, okay, Denmark, here's how you greet people in Denmark. Here's what they care about in Denmark. Here's how you shake someone's hand in Denmark, right? Like very, very specific etiquette type practices. So as a business owner, I'm going to encourage you to do your research and learn about some of those things. Okay. Learn about some of those things because, and hopefully you've had this experience with me coming to your countries and to your homes. One of the things I pride myself is I make a committed effort to learn your culture. I even sound like an idiot trying to speak your language, right? You know what I mean? Like I'm willing to try the foods and to go to different places because I deeply, deeply want to, at a core level, learn who you are, learn your history, learn where you come from. I want to know those things. So I'm going to invite you to do the same thing with the countries that you're excited about building into. Okay. Here's the next one. I know this sounds kind of crazy, but it's building locally and growing globally is going to be just as effective, if not more effective, than going directly. And so what does that mean? It means building inside of your local market. And as you're getting new team members started, and as you're having new conversations, and as you're talking with prospects, it's, hey, curiously, we're expanding into these other 12 countries, or if you're really focused on, say, like Norway and Denmark and Switzerland, say, hey, I'm expanding my business into Norway and Denmark and Switzerland. Who do you know in those markets? And would you be open to making a referral for me? Would you be open to introducing me to some of those people? Okay. So that would be a more effective strategy, building through people who you already know who have those relationships, than it would, for example, to just kind of cold market at people. Now you can cold market. There's nothing wrong with that. I just want to be very clear. Just be very, very, very intentional with how you come across. Be very, very intentional with your professionalism and your focus on learning more about them, like we talked about. Okay. Let's see. The next one we talked about is don't build on hype. Here's the other thing. You're going to see people do this. But just because you see people doing it doesn't mean it's a good idea. You're going to see people going into groups in those countries and they're going to spam those groups. New company starting, join my team, lose weight, blah, superfood detox. They're going to go into these groups and they're going to go spam, 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 spam. I highly recommend against doing that. Highly recommend against doing that. Now notice my language. I'm saying I highly recommend it because I'm just the sat nav. I'm just the GPS. It's your business. I just know what mistakes I've made in my life. And I know what I've seen that's not as effective. Okay. But again, going back to building genuine relationships. This one's really important. Yes, there's going to be a sense of urgency, but understand that we're talking about access to tens of millions of people. And the key word there is people. It's not a gold rush. Don't see bodies as dollar signs. Don't feel like there's not more than enough people for you to connect with, to talk with, to take through the process, to have say yes to you, to have say no to you. There are more than enough people out there. So being abundant in your mentality is super important. Please understand that you're not competing with anybody, even other distributors inside the company. Yeah, okay, of course, there's gonna be a little bit of healthy competition and things like that, but I really invite you to come from a place of abundance as opposed to a place of scarcity. I really invite you to come from a place of knowing that there's more than enough. I really invite you to look at people as people and not as profit. And when you carry that energy, guess what's gonna happen? You're gonna have more profit, right? When you look at people as people and not people as profit, what's going to happen? You're going to have more profit. It's a really simple equation. But nobody wants to feel like a number. Nobody wants to feel like a euro sign or a pound sign or a dollar sign. Okay, so it's not a gold rush. And even if it were a gold rush, it's at least a 10-year gold rush. Okay, at least. Think about that for a moment. Minimum, and that's even exaggerated quite a bit. How many people in the roughly in those 12 countries, how many more people are we talking about access to? Well over 100 million, it has to be, right? 12 times, Tommy, you're good at this stuff, right? More than it's got to be over 200. Well, let's see, the European Union is as big as the United States. The United States is 300 million. It's not the entire, let's call it 200 million plus people. Easy, right? Easily 200 million people. So for us as a network marketing company to get into a market penetration perspective where we're even close to something like critical mass, we're talking about years of market penetration before we would have even maybe 5 million of those people or 10 million of those people inside Isagenix. See what I'm saying? So again, abundant mentality, take your time, be patient, be intelligent with your conversations, do things the right way, build on a good, solid foundation. Build on a good, solid foundation and focus on working with people you want to work with. Okay. Let's see. This one's a big one. And this one's important. When you are in conversation with people and people that are interested in the business, what I would recommend is edifying the fact that you are already a part of the team that represents the largest team in Europe. And you're already partnered with leaders in myself and Eden and a lot of the top leaders on the call, of course, that already understand how to grow an international market. You want to help people to know that they're going to be joining a team that understands international expansion. That's a huge leverage point for you, okay? That is a huge leverage point. Why? Because we talk about it all the time. In a world of uncertainty, people are looking for certainty. So for you to be able to edify, hey, these are my partners, here's what they've already done just in the first 3 years of opening just these couple of markets, they know what they're doing, right? That's going to go a long way when you have those business conversations, okay? A long way. Let's see. Last one, maybe, I think. 740 million people live in Europe. Okay, so, and we're not in all the countries, so let's cut that in half just to be even more conservative. God, wow, 740 million, unbelievable. Okay. Let's see. Okay, this is the other one. Here's the other side of it, and I really want you guys to know this. Building in new markets is incredibly exciting. It's very sexy. It sounds very alluring, and oh my God, and I get to travel these places and have these teams, and oh my goodness, and it's just going to be frolicking and just best time ever, and I'll be skiing down the Swiss Alps while I have a maxed out business position, and no big deal. Smooth sailing, because I know a couple people in Norway. But my friends, it's not as sexy as it sounds in the beginning. What I want you all to understand, and some of you are already experiencing this, because let's make no mistake that the markets that you're in are still brand new markets. There are going to be plenty of challenges when it comes to building your new team in these markets. You're going to have customer service issues. You're going to have shipping issues. You're going to have payment problems. You're going to have technology problems. You're going to have drama because one Isagenix associate says that the person you enrolled is their person. You're going to have all of these bumps along the way. All of them. What's really important is that you stay patient. Patience is your greatest asset when it comes to building a new market. Patience is my number one skill. It is. Patience is my number one skill. I'm one of the most patient people you'll ever meet in your life. Why? The reason I'm patient is remember, crockpot leadership, slow cook leadership, right? I don't care. In my mind, it was totally fine with me. We had no idea that these markets were going to grow. What you guys are doing within 3 years is like, whoa, mind-boggling. Okay. In my mind, 5, 7, 10 years, totally fine. So all the early hiccups and bumps and bruises and people leaving and this, that, and the other, all part of the process. So when you're aware of what a potential reality is as a business owner, and a highly probable one at that, when it actually happens, it doesn't rock you as much. You're human. You'll wobble. You'll get frustrated. You'll get annoyed. You're human. You're allowed to get angry or annoyed or whatever, right? But be patient and think long-term, big picture. Is that helpful? That I'm letting you know right away. You're gonna experience all kinds of challenges going into. We are, as a company, we're going to have issues. It's normal. What can you do though, besides being patient? What can you do? And the earliest leaders on this team, this is one of the very first things they saw Eden and I do. And that's this: edify the company. Help people to know, just reassure them. Isagenix always does the right thing because we do. Even if it doesn't happen at the speed at which we want it to, because remember, we're talking about a huge 18-year-old company. So sometimes, guys, like I know IT can be very frustrating. I know the payment issues can be frustrating. But remember, we're talking about a huge cruise ship here, not a tiny speedboat. So we can't just turn very fast, because as a huge company, if we were to turn too fast, what happens? We capsize. Okay, that's why sometimes, even though it feels like we're not making progress, we're making slow progress. But remember, just like in your business, it's the compound effect. So it's really important that you constantly just re-edify. Exactly, it's the first thing I told Esther, right? Re-edify that Isagenix is always going to take care of us. They're always going to do the right thing no matter what. Always. So it's really important that you edify that process. And yes, pick your battles for sure, right? Absolutely. Is that helpful? Is that helpful to know that? Okay. Is it okay with you guys that I'm just being straight up with you like I always am about the reality of what is coming? That was great. I don't even know how that happened. Okay, so here's what I said. I think. There was some good stuff. What I was saying, I don't even know what I said. Amazing. And just remember, you don't have to be smart or have a great memory to be successful in network marketing, as evidenced by me. But anyway, no, I didn't do it on purpose. That's really funny. Anyway, but stay locked into the culture of Isagenix. Remind people, re-edify the company. The company's always going to take care of you. It's going to do the right thing. I understand that it's frustrating, but always, always, always edify the company. And yeah, I was saying that, I was just saying that it's important to me that you guys know the realities of what come with building the business, whether you want to make 500 a month or 5,000 a month. It doesn't matter. You guys all deserve to know the realities of what comes with the build, no matter what. That way, when it comes, you can say, oh, right, Zach said this was going to happen. Cool, here we are, right? It's like when you get on a track, if you sign up to run a race where there's hurdles on the track, you're not surprised when you have to jump over a hurdle because you signed up to run the race where there's hurdles on the track, right? Well, guess what? You've signed up to run a race where there are hurdles on the track. There are other runners on the track. There are people throwing things on the track. And that's because you've signed up to run on the track that doesn't go around and around and around like most people do. You signed up to go on the track that goes up, then down, then up, then down, then up, then flat, then up, then down, then up. And eventually the track that you run on stays up, up, up. But it's how we operate down here when we just get on the track for the very first moments, how we handle the hurdles and how we teach our fellow runners to handle the hurdles makes all the difference in the world. So I think that's all of my major talking points. We're over on time. At the end of the day, though, this is what I also say. One last thing. 11 new countries, 305 million people. Thank you, Tommy. Oh, my gosh. What if you just, like, what if you just, like, even one half of 1% of that into your organization, what would that do for your life? One half of 1%. I mean, it's crazy. Oh, my God. Look how many people we get to help. That's amazing. But ultimately, for as exciting as those 11 new countries and 305 million people are, your biggest opportunity is in your backyard. So if you live in Cheshire, or you live in Harlem, or you live in Ghent, or if you live in Manchester, or if you live in Benissa, if you live in, no matter where you live, your backyard is still your greatest opportunity inside this company. Why? Because we haven't even gotten started yet. We haven't even gotten started yet. So it's we're a few minutes over. Thank you guys for staying up a little bit later with us this evening. I'm going to post in both groups. What did you learn? Hope you learned something. Again, lots of love and a shout out to Donna Young for going Crystal Executive this week. And we'll see you guys all soon. Thank you for your leadership and all that you do. Bye.